So, it finally happened. I told you it would. For all you doubting Debbies out there who said that I wouldn't get a free Joe Dart bass. Well, actually you were kind of right, because I didn't get a free Joe Dart bass. This is not mine. A good friend of mine, CJ, lent it to me. And I've got to give it back, unfortunately, at some point. But it's nice. There's just one thing that I don't like, or actually, maybe a couple of things, or three or four. But generally, I think it's a great bass for $400, $500. It's well made, all well fitted. It feels very tight. The strings feel very high tension, but they are really nice for flat wound strings. They sound great. But as you can probably tell from that playthrough that I just did with Deantown at full speed, it's a struggle. I think it might be because I'm switching back to 4-string again, and I've got completely used to using the B string as a thumb rest, an initial sort of thumb rest for everything. So I've got to go back to relying on the pickup when I'm in the beginning part. And then I've got to go from using the pickup to using the E string, because I like to use the strings for a thumb rest, because I've started developing this habit of kind of moving my thumb across the strings a little bit. So that whole thing. I mean, you've got the same thing on a 5-string bass, except I very seldom use that B string. When I do, I can just let my thumb float freely most of the time, I think. Anyway, so there's that, and the strings do feel a little bit more higher tension than they do on my jazz bass. I think the action is pretty good. I think it's probably about the same as my jazz bass. It might be slightly higher, I don't know. That might just be because the string's higher tension. But it sounds great. Yeah, it feels great though. But like I say, not quite comfortable with it yet. So I might have to keep hold of it for a few days at least, so that I can get to play Deantown on it properly. Very surprised at these strings being flat wounds, that you can actually slap with them as well. Can't quite get those. My slapping needs a bit of practice. But it sounds great with anything. Don't know about a pick. I don't have a pick. Do I have a pick? Yes, I do have a pick. Not a great pick player. I'm not a great player altogether, but huh. Sounds great to me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I'm going to have a little play around with this for a couple of days and see what happens with it. I'll have to return it to CJ. There are a couple of things, though, that I would like to talk about. One of them being the gap here. This is a small thing, and it's a $400-$500 bass. So, but the gap around the edge of the neck socket is kind of wider on the one side than it is on this side. It's not a big thing, I suppose. There's a bit of a buzz somewhere. I don't know if you can hear that. But I suppose that could be anything. That could be the pickup, or it could be the truss rod, but it's probably a pickup or a knob or something like that, or something just not screwed down properly. It's got a nice bridge. It's missing a couple of things, one of them being a tone control. I just can't help it. At least a tone pot would just really be beneficial. I would say that I would switch over to round wound strings, but these are actually really bright. These are Ernie Ball flat wounds, and they're bright enough. They sound like a set of rounds that maybe have just been worn in for a month or two. Well, depending on how much you play. I mean, in my case, a month or two. With some people, they have a set of rounds sounding like this in a couple of days, I'm sure. But it's mellow, but it's articulate, which I think is also largely to do with the bridge. With the pickup itself, its position and its design. The wood itself, I don't know. I don't know if that really makes that much of a difference. It needs an extra string. That's the other thing. Not only does it need a tone control, it needs another string. I would like a B string on mine. Please, to you nice people out there at Music Man, or even Sterling, just like a Joe Dart signature bass with an extra string. I know that Joe doesn't need 5 strings, but I do. So if you can sort that out, please, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Nice. Anyway, should we try Deantown one more time? And then I'm going to call it a day. And I'll be back in a few days. I'd just like to, at this point, just remind everybody, please subscribe to my channel, because I am actually going to get my own free Joe Dart bass. This is not it. And also mine's going to have 5 strings on it. Basically, I need a Sterling bass with 5 strings. I need a 5-string Sterling. That's a Music Man Sterling model, not the actual brand Sterling, although I will take the brand Sterling. Gets confusing with these guitar manufacturers and their sub kind of companies, whatever they're called. Deantown. Right. Okay. Anyway, so subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave a comment, and what else? Yeah, do all those things, and then watch the rest of this video, and then have a nice day. Bye.